Boy,
Dude.
Denny's really going at it.
Then he complains too much, man. Let me tell you, I'm so. Oh shoot!
There's a podcast called Between Two Slabs. They consume mass media. It seems so sad. It's the great curator and Merlin. They can't grow pubes, so they gotta wear a merkin. They got no money, so I guess they gotta share. Just two nerds wishing they could grow body hair. Comics, cards, and toys, nothing that would interest you. It's the podcast that nobody listens to.
All right.
What's up? Yeah, right. Rise and shine.
Well, episode 101 officially here.
It's like English 101, baby. We got National Card Show 101.
It seems like we're just here Saturday, a couple days later, and now we're back at it, guys. Terribly exhausted. I'm having the national hangover. How about you?
I just took like an hour nap, 2 hours ago before I walked the dog for an hour. Good thing I had a walk because that woke me up. But man, I went into deep hibernation for 1 hour.
Oh my gosh, I got so much stuff to unpack.
Me too. I don't even I'm glad this stuff right now is blocking the rest of the room because I got so much to do and I got to finish it tonight because the cleaning lady's going to be here tomorrow. And I'm struggling still.
Yeah. So we're back, guys. Episode 101 of Between Two Slabs, the best podcast in the hobby that nobody listens to. We got
That's right, man.
Two of the hardest working men in the hobby, straight back from Chicago here. What a wild weekend. If you did not catch our 100th episode where we gave a brief recap on Saturday, we're going to be going on to a deep dive, a national debrief for you guys tonight. That's all we're going to talk about, national, and then we'll get the comments and questions like that.
Nice.
Real quick here, just as a reminder, if you have any comments that you want us to shoot up to the top of the priority list, just hit us with a super chat sticker and then we'll get to it right away. If not, just wait till the end and we'll try to get to all your comments right away.
Right.
Merlin, let's see here. Merlin, you're back. You're just telling me that you still have the little bit of a hangover. Like, have you got any work done since you got back?
Have what? What'd you say?
Got any work done? What have you been doing since Monday?
Well, I don't have any work done because I work in entertainment. We're on strike right now, so there's nothing going on. So I can't do anything until this is my life right now unless somebody wants me to do some personal work for them. I'm not OnlyFans type work. Okay.
All right. Well, Merlin has a lot of free time on his hands apparently. So if you guys want to do any deals with him, hit him up. Me though, I've got a week full of work to catch up on. So that's pretty hectic.
The law industry is not on strike.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, a national, it seems like it was so crazy hectic, so many things going on, and now it's over. It feels like, I don't know, it felt like it went by so fast that it was almost.
It did, like 2 days, right?
But then I also feel like I had so much fun that now I'm kind of sad that it's over. It feels like I went to summer camp, like a week-long summer camp, hanging out with all my friends, and then I had to say goodbye at the end.
I know. I felt like I needed another week. How about you?
Another week of that? Oh man, I don't know if I could have done another week, but
I don't think I got enough time. I didn't get to see so many people or spend enough quality time with people that I wanted to as I have in the past.
Yeah, I feel like I needed, because we barely walked the showroom floor at all. We didn't even see,
but thank God we did, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Like, we didn't see a lot of our friends. Like, we didn't see Daps.
No,
yeah,
people.
We didn't get to say hi to Daps. I didn't even see Jeff Wilson. I saw him from afar, but I never
even saw him from afar. That's the first time at a card show where I've never seen Jeff.
Yeah, it was just so crazy, and so many people messaged me saying,
I didn't even see Teapot.
They wanted to say hello to us, but they couldn't find us, or they were just too busy. So it was a little bit too crazy, too hectic. I don't know if that's because the convention was so big, or there were so many people there, or what it was, or maybe we just need an extra day. Maybe we should start on Tuesday. You know what I mean? I don't know, but definitely it was a crazy ass experience. For the people that didn't watch us on Saturday, tell them, how did you do? How did you do overall?
Oh, Pretty good. I think I did a little better at the Atlantic City. I think I was telling you that. I mean, it was super busy. Don't get me wrong. And not to put it down because it was still better than anything else out there. I mean, it's not even close. And also, just when you think the show is over, Dan, it isn't over. I think I made some of my biggest sales on the airplane from Chicago to LAX Sunday.
What do you mean on the airplane?
Because we can talk about this more. Just because the show isn't over doesn't mean it's over. Because a lot of people, like you said, came by again, weren't there, or they got lost and they couldn't get to the table. They couldn't find the table in time, and we were already gone. Or people saw some of my items in other people's vlogs. Say, for instance, Flipping Steve's. People would come, and I would be on their in their vlogs, and they would say, Merlin, show some of your items, and I would. And people hit me up on Instagram, and I sold about 5 items, probably totaling about $7 or $8 grand, man.
What? No way.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much for those people for putting me in your vlogs. I sold that Prince type one. I got to ship it out tomorrow. I said $2 grand, but I sold it for $1,800.
Oh, nice. Damn.
I'm glad I listened to you, man. I'm glad I listened to Dan.
See you guys.
And more people were asking me about my type 1 photos because they saw them in other people's videos. So just because, but that's the power of not only having your own vlogs, but in other people's vlogs or their videos. You make sure you show it. If you're in someone's vlog and you say, "Hey, just come to my table," no, maybe you should show a couple of items that would interest their audience, their demographics. That's like free advertising.
Yeah, I always try to show off my items in the showcase, and I always usually get at least one person that says, "Hey, what's up? What's with that?" And
so you've had this happen to you before as well, right?
All the time. So that is the power of social media, guys. It gives you that extra bit of exposure, and you just never know who's going to see it and who's going to contact you and want to buy something off of you. So like Merlin was saying, if you ever get a chance to be featured in anybody's vlogs, or if you have your own content, your own Instagram, always show off your stuff because you never know who's going to see it. A lot of the sales that I get oftentimes are just from like random people that I've never chatted with, but they just said that, "Hey, I saw your Instagram reel or your live. You still have this item," and I always get a couple deals that way. So that is definitely a great point there. So let's continue. Let's go into a deep dive about the national here, because from our perspective, we were at our table, like I would say like 90% of the time we were at our table, maybe even 95% of the time we were at our table. We didn't really get to walk the showroom floor.
It was so hard to step away, man.
At all. I mean, the only times we actually walked it was before the show started, like about a half an hour before the show started. We got to walk it, but like most of the people weren't even set up at that time.
But I'm still glad that you made that suggestion and we stuck to it.
Yeah, because I mean, I would have felt like if we couldn't walk around at all, I would have felt like I really missed out on something. But I think that we got to see a lot of cool stuff, even though it wasn't like during the peak hours of the show. We still got to see a lot of cool stuff. We got like those cool promo cards here from that Whatnot PSA booth. So that's pretty damn cool that we got one of these, 2 of these actually. And we got to see, all the other stuff out there. But from our perspective, we were there like 95% of the time. I've been reading from other people's perspective. I'm getting like mixed reactions from comments that I've been reading. Some people said that like they couldn't find anything that they wanted. Cards were overpriced.
I heard all that too.
They were complaining about whatever other things that they complained. Dealers are too high, or dealers are too stubborn, or things like that. So it's interesting. So if anybody was at the National, please give us your feedback on your perspective. But from ours, I would say huge success, overwhelmingly positive, definitely. Overwhelmingly good time that we had there. For me, I'll speak about myself personally. For me, my sales, I killed it with the sales. It was the best show I've ever had. Better than even Dallas, better than last year in terms of sales. In terms of networking and everything, I met I met some really great industry, heads and professionals. I met a lot of cool people that follow us.
That was great
feedback. So overall, I think it was a success. I mean, like, from your perspective?
Oh, no, most definitely. I mean, in every category, just like networking, socially, just, meeting new people, meeting people who watch our show that live in other countries, and just seeing what their experience is like for the first time coming to national. Some people that watch our show from, like Sebastian from Uruguay, he had never even been to a card convention in his life, ever. And this was his first one. Can you believe that? The national? Imagine how overwhelmed he was. Totally would be.
That's a good segue. Let's talk about the people first here. Okay. Let's talk about all the people that we met here. The National is a unique show, I think, because it draws an international crowd. As big as Dallas is, as big as some of these other shows, I'm sure Burbank is going to be really huge. You don't necessarily get a lot of international people, but for the National, they fly in. So like you said, we met guys from Ecuador, Uruguay, Honduras, Germany, England, Ireland, Singapore, Australia, the UK, Canada, Mexico. I mean, like, you name it. Wherever there are collectors, we found them. Japan, Korea, Hobby Korea was set up next to us. So that was a really unique experience, because as we learned from when we went to Toronto, people, different cultures do the hobby differently. You know what I mean? They collect different things, they negotiate differently, they have different priorities. So it was really cool meeting all those different people from internationally that we got to network with, right? And I'm telling you, all these people that we met, I'm telling you from personal experience, if we ever go to their area, right, their country, their city, they will probably offer some type of helping hand.
I believe it.
They'll try to host us. They'll offer suggestions or tips. So it's always great to meet people that from all over the world. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you know me. I try to be as hospitable I can to these people, because I would expect the same in return when I go visit them too. So I want to show them the best of time here in the States while they're here.
Yeah. And then aside from the international people, just meeting so many people that follow and support us,
I know.
That was really cool. Like, there were these guys, YOLO Cards, because I know him from his Instagram, and then his buddy Mike from Detroit. They showed up in the Great Curator PMG t-shirts out of nowhere. That really threw me for a loop when I saw those two guys.
Yeah, Dan's head didn't get big enough there, did it?
I loved it. No, but they just kind of walked up to my table, and they didn't say one thing. They would just walk up and they stood there for a second just smiling, and I looked up from my phone or the deal that I was doing. I looked up and I was like, what's going on here? What is this? I thought they were pranking me at first, but they were just two really cool
people. Loved it, man. They loved it.
They just supporting me, and I just thought that was so cool. And then we met other people that we chat with and interact online. We met some people that are constant in our lives every week, so that was pretty damn cool.
Some of our peers.
Yeah. We met people with their kids that wanted to take pictures with us. I thought that was kind of surreal. I don't want to call it strange, because it's very flattering when somebody wants to take a picture with you. But I just thought to myself, what, these kids watch us? Their parents would be like, yeah, my kid is a big fan of yours. He watches all your stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, what? They watch our stuff? Oh, I better watch my mouth. I better watch these dirty jokes that I say sometimes, if there's actually kids that watch the show, But that was super cool. Experiencing that, and then just meeting all the other people in the hobby that do content or they work within the hobby space, and they say that they follow us and know us. That was just super cool.
Yeah, and plus it's cool because there's so many people, not just people who watch us, but other YouTubers and people, social media content creators, but just other people in general who know us. They love coming to our table and sharing with us what they've picked up at the national convention. I'm sure you saw some very interesting things, because I know I did. And
I think that's a good segue into the next topic here of how our inventory did at the National, how we stood up, because I'm going to humble brag a little bit here, but
okay, do it.
A common compliment that we received, or a common piece of feedback that we received from all the people that came to our table was like, wow, you guys got the different items, all your stuff is different from everywhere else. This is really cool. And people were kind of like, they've never seen some of the things that we had before, the entertainment type 1 photos, the Marvel, Star Wars, the wrestling, the Disney stuff, the comic books that I brought, the K-pop cards were a big hit, all that stuff. People had never seen those things before, and it got people to stop at our table and, admire it. Some people purchased things, some people didn't, but they took pictures. So that was pretty cool. And I think that kind of like, really, really, really like, I don't know. I don't want to say solidified it, because we've been kind of doing this for a while, but I feel like it was really on brand for us. You know what I mean? Like we established ourselves as the pop culture guys at that show. And we stood out, head and shoulders above most of the other people based on the feedback that we were getting on that. I mean, what were you hearing on your side? Because we were pretty much separated the whole time. So tell me, what did you hear?
I mean, not really. I mean, do you feel like people stopped and stayed at our table more than they usually would if they were at other tables? Did you have that sense?
I think so, and that was by intention for my design. When I was curating my inventory, I purposely put like really awesome, unique, eye-catching items, conversation starters is what I like to call them, in my showcase to get people to stop. And I think it worked. I mean, even Gary V came by my table and was like there for
right here on this
thing, like 5 minutes, just kind of like looking at all my stuff, so that was pretty cool. The Tops executives were looking at my stuff, so that was pretty damn cool. All sorts of people just came by and they were just like, taken aback by the uniqueness of the items. And I know on your side, you had a lot of those entertainment music type 1 photos, and people were going crazy for that stuff.
Oh yeah, they love the old school hip hop. And
one guy, you were making a killing on those.
I was one guy who had a huge collection, one of the best collections I've ever seen of type 1 photos. I mean, just gorgeous stuff. Like he had the rookie card of Gordie Howe, the type 1 photo that was used for his rookie card in 51. He had a Lou Gehrig photo that was used on one of the Leaf cards from the 40s. He had an explosion of the Hindenburg, the iconic shot of the Hindenburg exploding. And then he had a beautiful one of Kurt Cobain. He said like all those are like worth over $50,000. His collection was beautiful. And the fact that he came to my table and really loved some of my stuff and then taught me a lot about, the different types of photos and how I can, tell them apart even more than I did before was a great honor. I mean, the first thing he saw was my type 1 of Jerry Seinfeld. That was promoting the show Seinfeld back in 91, but this is 90. Then he bought a lot of my type 1 hip hop photos of Run DMC, Public Enemy, and Beastie Boys. But and then also sold an Eminem one too. So my old school hip hop was popular, and my Taylor Swift digital photos. And I didn't know until then that they do grade and slab or authenticates and slab digital photos, and apparently digital photos are all classified as type 3. I don't know if you knew that or not. Just to throw that out there. So that was something I did not know.
So do you think that your top selling category of items were the music type photos?
Yeah, and just music cards in general. I had 2 Garth Brooks rookies I sold, and I had 3 Post Malones I sold, but just music in general was very popular. And I can't even think off the top of my head what else I sold.
More music. You sold more music than you did wrestling, Star Wars.
No, about the same. I sold a lot of wrestling because I had a lot of wrestling.
Wrestling was popular at this show.
A lot of wrestling.
We went to the wrestling trade night. There was like over 100 people there. The guys right next to us had a huge case of wrestling too. I feel like there was, and based on the feedback from
they were part of the sponsors too.
Based on the feedback from the hardcore wrestling guys like Gelman, there was more wrestling represented at that show than ever before. So that was pretty cool, seeing that kind of stuff. So, wrestling was definitely very popular. In my dollar box, I sold
hundreds. You did, man. You were always going. There was always someone in that box buying something.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The dollar boxes did well. From my perspective, I would say, I want to say that, man, it's hard to, I guess it's hard to say because I feel like it's weird. Okay. I feel like I had the most dollar sales, gross sales I've ever had at any show, but the biggest sale that I had was my Hogan PMG was $6,300.
That's right.
That's the biggest sale. So, all my other sales were like micro transactions, like $100, $200, if you know, and it was just like I must have had like over 300 transactions, sales at my booth, and it was just like a bunch of like little things, but I feel like it was pretty evenly spaced between wrestling, Star Wars, Marvel, and K-pop, and my type photos, you know, in terms of like, you know, dollars and transactions. So I can't really say that one stood out over the other, but I will say that two things that stopped everybody at my table were the vintage graded magazines and comics that I had. I had that Mickey Mouse Disney comic from 1944 that sold quick. I had the two Jackie Robinson magazines from the 50s that sold quick.
Both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
I didn't know. I thought you only sold the blue one. You sold the red one too.
I had a red and yellow. They both sold.
Oh, red and yellow. Sorry.
And honestly, I think I underpriced them because they sold quick. You know.
Did he even haggle, Dan?
Yeah, not really. So
okay.
You know, that happened, and then the type photos. I didn't sell all my type photos, but I sold.
Oh no, I had a lot.
Yeah, I sold a couple of them, so that was pretty cool. The K-pop cards sold like crazy. You know, people would love that kind of stuff.
Oh, did you sell the black pinks?
Not the graded ones.
Okay.
People wanted to buy them, but I'm kind of high on them. Where I don't want to sell a price on them because I want to create a PSA set registry.
Gotcha.
For Blackpink cards, because I met the guy who runs the registry for PSA, and he was telling me, yeah, we could do this. You know, we were talking and strategizing. So I've got this plan where I'm going to build the set registry for Blackpink, and it's going to be
so tell us, what does like a set registry consist of? Like, aren't they already in the registry? Like, I'm confused.
No, so I didn't even know what it was, but the way that they explain the PSA set registry is like, let's just say with my Blackpink cards, for example. Right, I can create a registry where I've got these 10 cards and they're registered to me as the owner, and they are ranked based on the grades.
Okay.
Right? And if I'm the only one that has it, then I have the #1 registry.
Oh,
but let's just say there's 5 other guys that build this set, and then once they put it into the registry, the grades are calculated to see who has the highest average set. And then they create like kind of like a little competition. All right. You can be either #1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, 5 numbered in the registry. So it's kind of like a little pissing contest, basically, or competition. And here's what's interesting about this that I didn't know, but PSA had like a invite only party for the PSA registry members, and they actually have what they call this. I'm not making this up. They actually have a PSA set registry Hall of Fame club, where if you participate in the registry and you have like some of the best sets, you are elected to their Hall of Fame, and they throw a party for you at the national, and they give you like lavish gifts, like custom painted artwork, pins, things like that.
Oh, artwork. You'd love that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So like when I heard about that, I was like, oh, how do I get in on this, man? How do I become a Hall of Fame member? So I've got this plan. Okay. I'm never going to have like the 86 Slayer set or the 53 tops or 52 tops mantle set or anything crazy like that. But I could have a Blackpink set. You know, I could have a purple PMG employee set. I could have these little things in there that get me on the ballot somehow, and then maybe
I'm sure that'll get everyone to throw in the towel after that.
I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of the old people. Who the hell is this young punk in here?
That sounds nasty.
Yeah, what is this? You know. So that's my plan with that. So that's pretty cool. But other than that, you know, the dollar cards did well. So I feel like everything was comparatively equal on my side in terms of everything that I was selling, which is good. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like that's good that I get that kind of diversity of interest in all my items versus having like one section do really well and nobody care about anything else, right? Even Marvel cards did well, Star Wars cards did well, all that stuff. And a lot of my crazy oddball things I was able to sell, like my Soprano Chrome set, I sold that. My Sumo Wrestler
did?
Yeah, Sumo Wrestler cards, I sold that.
Really?
Yeah, some of my animal cards, TGC Life Game animal cards, I sold some of those. Super Mario sold. The only thing that didn't sell is my Playboy cards for some reason. And I think because people didn't really see it.
Just these 12-year kids bought them. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so that's it. I thought the Playboy cards were going to kill it, to be honest. I thought they were going to kill it. I think I maybe sold one. I had like 100 and I sold maybe one of those. So we'll see. We'll see when I bring it to Burbank if anybody's interested in that kind of stuff. But that was the only thing that really didn't sell. Everything else killed it, man. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
here.
That was like the feedback in terms of the items that we had there. What were you like seeing in terms of dollars? Were people spending thousands of dollars at a time on your stuff, or were they spending hundreds of dollars or less than $100?
Hundreds, but then they would come back. Like the guy who bought your purple PMG of Hogan, he was constantly coming back and forth to my booth and buying more and more from Gabriel. He was buying a lot from me. Yeah, so I bet you overall he probably bought like 10 cards from me, and they're all like, $100 to $500 cards.
Yeah. Well,
but they added up.
I would say for me, it's like less than $100. A lot of my transactions were like $50 to $90 or $100. I rarely had any transactions that were over $1,000. Maybe like 5 transactions that were actually over $1,000, but everything else was in that, less than $100, maybe less than $400 range.
But did you have $50 to $100 cards in your display case, or were they in your shoebox?
In the shoebox, it was like dollar cards.
Right. But one woman while you were gone pulled out a card that was priced at $25.
Oh, I only had 2 of those in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was like that. And then for my slab cards, I didn't have too many that were under $500, like under $300. I didn't have too many of those. But it was just like, it was the K-pop cards that were selling like crazy. It was the slab mags that were selling like crazy because I had the exclusive metallic gold ones.
Did you sell out of those, or?
I sold out of all but 2. I took 2 home so that I
kept for yourself.
Yeah, so I could keep it for myself. So I got 2 of those.
And how do you know that's an exclusive?
Because they told me.
Okay, yeah. And you had to tell them.
Yeah,
the buyer.
Yeah, you can get it on their website.
Okay.
But I was the exclusive one at the National that had those.
Woo.
People were buying a lot of that stuff, but it was just overall really crazy, but just like small transactions. You know what I mean? And that was the feedback that I was hearing too from a lot of people is like, oh, there's no big money at the show, I guess, But I think that has to do with like people were more collector focused. You know what I mean? Trying to buy things that they liked versus, expensive ass cards and things like that. And I also noticed this too. This is my takeaway from the whole show. Okay. Is that I feel like, some people have like $10,000 plus cards. Some people have like $20,000 plus cards. People were bringing their cards to me, and if it's like a high-end card, like a Jordan Auto, they'd say, "Oh, this is $50,000. This is $100,000. This is, $15,000 or whatever," right? And they're probably worth that much, I guess. I don't know. But from my experience and my takeaway from this show is that really the sweet spot for cards is going to be in that $1,000 to like $8,000 range. You know what I mean? Once you get past $10,000, the group of people that are willing to pay that type of money for a card like that gets slim. You know what I mean? And more or less, most of the time, they're going to try to trade a card. Like they have a really expensive card, so they want to trade towards that card. And that's a totally different game. We've met people where they don't care about money. They just care about cards. So they want to trade one card for another, right? So that's a totally different category of collectors. But I think the sweet spot for these shows is that $1,000 to like $8,000 range, because when people come to a show like this, that's what they expect to pay. They might come with like $5,000 or $10,000, and they just want to get the most entertainment value for their money. So they're going to be buying cards in that range versus just buying like one card, you know. And I'll give you an example. Okay, I had that Jordan Nike promo PSA 10.
Yes.
That has ranged anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 over the last 2 years or so, right? That card is one of those iconic, awesome cards that everybody wants, everybody looks at, but it was hard to move for sure.
Which was very surprising, Dan.
Yeah. Like a lot of people wanted to trade me a bunch of junk ass cards for that, like things that I don't collect. That's why I call it junk. But I didn't want any stuff, right?
No, you shouldn't.
To find a cash buyer for that card was very, very difficult. And I didn't even find it. Well, I kind of did, but I turned them down. I'll tell the story real quick.
Okay. Please do.
So, you know, you've been with me for all the shows when I had that card out. Everybody wants it.
Yeah. It's been in so many hands.
Yeah.
And been touched so many times.
The best offer I got was before I went to the National. Some guy offered me $10,000 for it. Like the night before I was going to the National. I think
he hit you up on social media or what?
Yeah, on social media. I think he knew that I was going to move it. I've done a deal with him before. So he offered 10 cash. But I wanted more. I wanted like 15-ish, right? On that. So then at the show, nobody's making a play on it. Everybody loves it, but nobody's making a play on it. And then we go to the trade night sponsored by Sports Card Therapist, Rob.
Right, where it was hot like hell. Whew.
Right. And then I lay that card out on the table, and this dude walks up. His name's Steve-O. He walks up and he makes it.
But not the Steve-O from Jackass.
I mean, he looks like it. I
can see that resemblance, yes.
So this guy walks up on the table, falls in love with the card right away, and within like 2-3 minutes, he says, I'll offer you $14K for that card. Okay?
That's true.
$14,000. And me, I had the card marked at 20 grand. It was the most expensive card I had in my whole case. It's my flagship card, the most expensive card I own. I had it marked at 20 grand. The last sale on that is a PWCC elite auction sale, 24 or 5 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I marked it at 20,000. All the previous sales before that averaged between like 10 to 14 grand. So I told him, I said, I want 15. I was trying to tenderize him a little bit, trying to get an extra grand out of him. And he said, no, man, that's all I have. So I turned it down at that trade night. And immediately after I turned it down, I was feeling like, ah, shit, I dropped the ball on that one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like I had a little bit of FOMO, some seller's remorse, you could say, whatever.
Okay.
So I text him because we exchanged contact information. I text him. I said, if you still want to do the deal, come by to my table the next day. I wasn't expecting him to come, right? But I sent it to him. And I was kind of thinking to myself, damn, when you have a bird in your hand, you should take that deal. Like, I was trying to get an extra 1,000 and I gave up 14,000. That was kind of a mistake, right? But anyways, yeah. So that's like the best offer that I got on that card the whole weekend. And then luckily for me, he did come back to the table the next day, but we worked out a different trade. Okay. So instead of giving me $14,000 cash, we worked out a cash trade deal where he gave me 5,000 cash and a BGS 9 graded Jordan, which the last sale on that was $12,000. So I gave him that $12,000 value. So technically $17,000 total value for that. And then, we did the deal. So I got cash out of it. I could have got 14. Okay. But instead I got 5 cash plus the Jordan. And if I manage to sell the Jordan for 12, then I'll make money on it. But most likely that Jordan will sell between 10 to 12 unless it has a really bad comp or something like that. So I'll make a little bit more than I would have if I had taken the 14 cash, but I got to do more work. You know what I mean? So, which I don't mind. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, but that was the only offer that I had on that card the whole weekend. And it just made me think to myself, okay, just like when you get past that $9,000, $10,000 mark, the pool of buyers that actually have money and cash that are willing to drop it on any type of card is very small. You know what I mean? And one thing I'll say about this is the last part I'll say about this story is that thank God for the trade nights, man. Like we didn't really go to the trade nights that much because we were so tired. But had I not gone to that trade night and saw that guy there, it would not have led to that. So even though
he would have known you had it, he wouldn't have seen you probably.
Yeah. So, you never know. You got to go to the trade nights. Even if you don't sell one thing at the trade night, some guy might see your card and he'll do a deal with you the next day or something like that. So the trade nights are extremely, extremely valuable. And that was a lesson that I kind of learned again because I had forgotten about it. I had basically told you, remember, every night I was like, I don't want to go to trade night. I don't want to hang out with these guys. I just want to go back to the room and relax. I was getting lazy, basically. Yeah. So that reminded me of how important these trade nights are. Even if you don't sell anything, you still got to go out and lay your stuff out just so people can see what you have,
That's right.
So that's kind of like the biggest takeaway I got from the National is that these big cards, they got to be consolidated. You know what I mean? Like, so going into, the rest of the year and then into next year, I'm really going to be very conscious about what cards I get into. I'm not going to get into 5-figure cards or anything like that.
That's just too much, you think?
It's too hard. It's too hard to move those cards unless, I don't even know. Like maybe there's a group of people where that's all they do, really high dollar cards. I'm sure it is, but I'm not part of that group. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because you said that, Dan, because so many people that came to our booth were complaining that there was too many sports cards that were in that price range, like 30, 40,000, because they were like, I'd go to the next booth and there's another $30,000, $40,000, NBA card. And another one was like, great, you have these cards, but who the hell can afford them?
Right. And it's like, you have them, you have an amazing collection.
Yeah.
But you're set up as a vendor, you're not going to move that stuff, right? Like the chances of a whale coming by and buying that are pretty slim, unless it's a really, really rare card that's very coveted by people. So I feel like that game, that's still like 2020, 2021 mentality where people were just trying to stack these big ass cards and trying to get big money for them. But I just don't see that. I don't see people walking around with stacks of cash at this National and dropping it on deals. Maybe that's because we were in the back, so we didn't see a lot of the big action, right? But I'm telling you, from my perspective, it's going to be $8,000 and under is going to be where people are comfortable playing in this current market. You know what I mean?
Oh, most agree.
Mm-hmm. So that was that. So let's kind of wrap this up by talking about what's probably. Tell me what was the worst thing about the National. What was one really really annoying, really bad thing that you saw? Something you didn't like?
The heat.
The heat. Yes. The heat.
I'm not used to that humidity, baby. Oh my God, that Wednesday, the first day of sales was just difficult to get through.
I imagine the people who run the convention center, they were probably panicking. You know what I mean? It can't be easy to run a venue like that and have to deal with problems like that for sure. But that was definitely, they dropped the ball on that. That was terrible.
Because I looked at old pictures when I was there, back in 19 and 21, and I'm in the convention center. I'm wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
So there you go. That tells you I was cold, and I don't get cold that easily.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the heat for me was really bad too. There was not really anything other terrible than that I didn't like. I mean, there was that old man that was trying to talk shit to me, so that was stupid that people do shit like that.
Oh, was that the guy that was screaming at you when I came back and you pointed to him and he waved and called you
that fucking old man. He's lucky. I swear to God, he's lucky.
I couldn't see him. How old was he? Because my vision wasn't that
he must have been in his 60s.
That's how far that's how far he was away from us at that time.
Yeah, he looked like Gandalf the Grey,
like a white trashy version of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to say that. I'm not allowed to say that, but
I can say it.
Okay, yeah, you can say it, but he looked like a moonshiner or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't make fun of my cousins, man.
But he was a punk. And he's lucky that I was in the middle of a deal. Otherwise, I would have walked up to him and be like, "What the fuck is your problem, dude?" But he ran away quick. So that was annoying. And then that was pretty much it. Nothing really bad happened. I didn't hear about people stealing. I didn't hear about.
No, we didn't this time, did we?
I mean, we were far away, so I'm sure there was some drama, but we were far away.
But we didn't see drama at trade nights either.
Yeah. So we
usually do.
Yeah. So other than that, other than the heat and that stupid old man, really nothing too bad happened. It was a great show overall. What was like the best thing that you saw there?
Our booth, Dan. Besides our booth.
Yeah.
Want to get them? I like just all the corporate booths, the sets. Like there was a lot better. Like they're not just booths anymore; they're like installations now.
So I feel okay. I think this was like a tip off. I think this was a hint of things to come, or sign of things to come, because the corporate booths there, they spent money. Like I heard from, like, I was talking to the Cardfather, and he was telling me some of the booths cost like $400,000 to produce those booths there. And it's not just like Topps or Fanatics. It was like other companies. It was like
we had Wild Card right in front of us that was way bigger than it used to be.
I've never even heard of Wild Card before. They make like NIL cards or something like that. Yes. They had one of the biggest booths there.
It was huge, it was massive. And I don't know if you remember the last couple of years, they were just a very small booth.
Yeah. So they came up. I saw like Backyard Breaks had a pretty.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, pretty big booth there. DAPS had a huge booth.
DAPS looked gorgeous.
Yeah, I feel like the corporate booths definitely raised the value, where they're on like almost like Comic-Con level production value. And I think that's a sign of things to come. I think they're trying to make the National more entertainment friendly, because I would say, like, at least, it's not an understatement to say this, at least half the convention showroom floor were these big corporate booths, all over the place. Like they had that Cabbage Patch vending machine that was pretty cool.
Making the Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh yeah, Garbage Pail Kids machine. They had
that was cool.
They had a lot of interactive features. I think there was
Whatnot and PSA had a collaboration making slabs.
Yeah, that was
photos
that was
that
cool.
Dan and I did.
There was a vending machine for cards. There was a claw machine for cards. There was an entire carnival area where you could play like carnival games and stuff. That was pretty crazy.
Oh man, we're gonna have to do that next year, Dan.
Photo studios where you can, take your picture inside a Prism border card. Autograph pavilions. They had like all like big production value. So I was very impressed with that. And I heard, I don't know if this is true or not. Okay, so don't say that this is breaking news or anything.
Okay,
me, but I heard that the National is being purchased by Fanatics. Like,
they're purchasing everything.
They're purchasing the show, the rights to produce the show, and that would explain to me. I don't know if this is true. If that's true, that would explain why there was such an emphasis on the corporate booths, because I feel like they're trying to like set a standard that everybody has to follow, right? Where everything is going to be, high production value. And then on the outskirts, like the corporate booths are going to dominate the middle of the show.
Right.
Outskirts, you're going to have the individual dealers on the 8-foot tables and things like that. But so that was really interesting. I think that's probably the coolest thing that I saw, which is why I wish I had more time there. I wish like we had one day where we closed down our table and we just walked the entire show. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, yes. That would have been great.
Or if we had like somebody to man our table or something like that. But that would have been really
We should do it on Saturday, because I feel like every Saturday is the slowest day of them all, sales-wise.
That's when I had my best sales, on Saturday.
Oh, you did? I had my worst.
Friday
last year too.
Friday was like was my worst day of sales. But Saturday I made
Saturday before lunch for me was great, but after lunch it died.
Yeah. But so that was pretty cool seeing that level of production there, and I think it's only going to get bigger. I think like these people, these corporate booths are going to just go way over the top. Like eBay built a freaking vault inside inside the convention center, showing that off. How many like glass boxes did we see where people were like doing like live broadcast and podcast?
They were, yep.
Yeah, like they look like DJ booths. How many of those
they did?
Dave and Adams had the crazy setup where they had it looked like a TV show where they had two couches and they were broadcasting on 3 different cameras or something.
I saw that.
I was on a guest on their show, and it felt like I was on a talk show or something, like Ellen or something like that, sitting on these chairs talking to them. So the production value is definitely the bar has been raised for sure on that. So that's really interesting to see.
Well, I did hear that there were more corporate booths this time and less dealer tables. I think there were like 100 less dealer tables this year.
Interesting. 100 less. So
yes, that's what I was told.
So okay. So let's talk about this. We got to talk about the politics of the dealer table, because I was on the same flight as Donald.
Show locator.
Yeah, and he was telling me like the inner workings of how things work, right? Mm-hmm. So he was telling me like, yeah, like some dealers for many years, dealers have owned multiple tables, 2 to 4 to more than that, right? And they would basically sublease the tables out to people. And they make money on that, and you can make really good money doing that, because some people were charging like $900 for a case space or $1,000 for a case space, so you could do really well with that. But he told me that the national committee was cracking down on that this year and was telling people you can't do that anymore. So like if you have like 4 tables, if you're not going to use all 4 tables, you got to give some of them back. So I believe it when you're telling me that if they eliminated like 100 table spaces, you know what I mean?
So it's kind of like you can't like sublet.
Yeah, they were definitely cracking down on selling your table spaces out to people, trying to get more people from the waiting list to have their own table. So that was definitely a thing. But here's what I found interesting about the whole national setup. So there's like a priority list of all the people based on seniority. And the people that have been going to the national for so many years, like you always meet these OG dudes that say, oh, this is my 27th national, or this is my 30th national in a row, right? Those are the highest priority level dudes. They have priority 1 status within the national committee in terms of voting rights. And it was exposed by Lamine James, where I don't know where he got that picture, but when they have a meeting at the national and they vote on the next location for the next like 3 years. And for some reason, there's only 3 locations that they have.
I know, right?
Chicago,
Cleveland,
and Atlantic City. Why is there? Okay, the question is, why is there only 3 locations on that list?
And Atlantic City is definitely the trump card there.
And I think there maybe Atlanta was on that list or something like that. I forget. I heard
that was the first time I ever went to a national. It was in Atlanta in '92. Okay.
But what? Only like nothing in Texas, nothing in California, nothing in Vegas.
Yeah, they used to have it in Anaheim all the time when I was living back in North Carolina, Tennessee.
So, anyways, there's these 3 or 4 locations on the list, and one of them had the asterisk on it, which is the Atlantic City, which
of course it does.
Nobody wants to go to Atlantic City. Atlantic City is a shithole city. Sorry, no offense if you live there or whatever, but for a convention, it's a shithole place to go.
Yeah, the asterisk probably has a footnote at the bottom that says, be careful.
Yeah.
Tread lightly.
So here's the thing. The asterisk actually had a incentive for people to vote to go there, saying that they will offer $1,000 credit to every dealer table there.
Let's go.
And then I was talking to Donald, and he was saying, yeah, because the show, on average generates like $20 million for that 1 week for the city that it goes to.
Oh, I can see that.
So Atlantic City, they have enough incentive, or they have enough money to offer incentives to the dealers to try to get there, But this is what I also found interesting. He told me that the reason even $1,000, it's like, why, like, for us to fly all the way out there, to take Ubers all the way back and everything like that, we have to go to fly to get an Uber transportation from Philadelphia to Atlantic City, because they don't have a direct airport. It's more than $1,000, in terms of all that expense. But what I found out from Donald, which I thought was interesting, is he said that a lot of the dealers live on the East Coast. A lot of the priority dealers, the OG, all the people that deal in the crazy vintage cards, right? A majority of them are on the East Coast. So it's more convenient for them to go to Atlantic City. Plus they get the bonus. And that's why that Atlantic City is even a freaking option, is because because the majority of the priority one voters are from the East Coast.
Jeez.
So, oh my God, like this answers so many questions about why Atlantic City's even in the topic, because everybody, I haven't met one person.
Yeah, they don't have to take the flights you and I have to do.
Yeah, I haven't met one person that says, oh yeah, I want to go to Atlantic City. I haven't met one real person that has actually said that. Nobody wants to go there. I mean, Chicago is great. Despite
everything's there. Everything is concentrated right there.
Despite the fiasco with the heating system, it may be the perfect location. It's 10-minute drive from the airport, Uber ride, like a $10, $15
so
Uber
close.
ride.
It's just down the street.
There's free shuttles that go from the hotels to the airport.
That's correct.
The convention center is surrounded by hotels that are directly across the street, no more than 10-minute walk from the convention center to your hotel.
Yeah, we were just like 2-minute walk.
There's a hotel connected to the convention center. There's plenty of options to eat. Like, we didn't even have to take an Uber anywhere. We walked 10 minutes to the entertainment venue there, and there's plenty of options.
There's like 20 restaurants right there.
Right? It's safe. As safe as can be for Chicago. Like, I didn't feel unsafe.
Because we're in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah, I didn't feel unsafe. So it's huge. It's a huge convention. So it may be the perfect location. Why they don't have it there every year, as opposed to even giving people the option to go to Atlantic City, is besides me. But I think it's because the majority of the priority voters are from the East Coast. So that's pretty crazy. I don't know what to think about that. Even next year when it's in Cleveland, I already like Neo was posting a map of
he's so close to it.
How the convention center is in Cleveland, and he says that the hotels are not even close at all to the convention center.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before from other people too.
So it's going to be a whole situation where we got to take Ubers or we got to do something there. So that's going to be shitty. And I've never been to Cleveland, but
me either. I've never been to Cleveland ever.
I've never wanted to go to Cleveland, to be honest. So
I'm going to get there probably 2 days before, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
So
that's my mecca.
So that was an interesting revelation. And I think that we're going to have that problem for a while until the priority one guys kind of like age out. That's a nice way of saying it, age out. And, newer priority two guys that don't live on the East Coast maybe might have the voting rights. So we'll see what happens there. Also, interestingly, I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't want the national board to blacklist us, but
way to go, Dan.
They did have a vote for board members. So there is like a lot of politics that go on in terms of voting for the board members there. That's all I'm going to say about that, because it's not my place to say. I'm still a newbie compared to a lot of these guys.
Have you submitted your name yet?
No.
Okay.
One day though. We'll
okay.
Can you imagine? Let's just say, okay, realistically, can you imagine? Let's just say we do this for 10 years, for the next 10 years. And,
oh my gosh.
And we rise up on the priority level of the dealers, and I can somehow put my name in the hat to be on the board, to be like the president or something like that. Can you imagine the level of hate or turmoil or disdain I would get from so many people if I was like on that board in charge of doing things? It would be crazy.
Well, I did notice, and I can say it. I noticed it's mostly more mature white people. I'll just say that on the board. There's not much diversity on the board. At all. But so we need some diversity, Dan.
Yeah. It would be cool. It would be cool to get some, representation. I mean, I don't think that it's necessary.
No, it's not necessary. But now that we've seen the hobby really growing and the diversity really growing pretty fast in the past few years, I think it's going to need it.
I think the biggest thing I think they need is a little bit. They need a young person on that board.
That too. Yes.
Yeah, they need somebody that's more in tune with the newer generation of people that have entered the hobby within the last 3-4 years or so that they can be a little bit more relatable. They can understand a little bit more of what those people's interests are, and I think that would help them.
Yeah, because I didn't see anybody on there that was even close to my age They're all pretty much older.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, that's an interesting takeaway of the politics involved with the whole national board itself and everything like that. Anything else you want to kind of get into? I feel like we're missing.
Well, Dan, why don't you tell them the story real quick? You remember when we were at the Hard Rock last year in Atlantic City, and this man came up to me and goes, "Do I know anybody that I can, help him sell this to?" And I was like, "Talk to Dan, he can help you." And you were like, "I'll make content out of this." And then we ran those people again this week.
Which one? Make content out of what?
What was the card you had and it went viral? And then we ran to him again. You introduced these people to, and I have a very 1 degree of separation with these people.
There's two interesting
story.
Two very interesting parts of the story. So last year, I met this guy waiting for my Uber. His name is Mark. I forget his last name, Mark Mint or something like that. He's from a double A Mint, which is a card shop based in Florida. I forget what part of Florida. Miami, Florida. They're really big card shop. Really, they do really well. Big card shop. Anyways, so I met this guy while we were waiting for our Uber in Atlantic City, and he's like, I didn't know who he was. He's an older gentleman, and he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Hey, I think I know you. You want to see something cool?" Kind of in a weird way. "Hey, you want to see something cool?" And I'm like, "What? This is the Atlantic City."
Zipper.
Yeah, this is it in Atlantic City. So I'm already on guard. I'm like, what's going on here? And then he reaches into his pocket. And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then he pulls out this LeBron James RPA or something like that. And he's like, "Here, look at this." And I look at it. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I asked him, whenever anybody shows me a card, I always ask him, how much is it? What's it worth?
And what was it again?
A LeBron James RPA.
Okay.
And then he was telling me, "Oh, it's like $120,000. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I just, if I have $120,000 card in my hand, I'm going to try to make some content out of it. So I made a reel about it, and that reel went viral, got over 100,000 views. So since that happened, I guess it got that guy a lot of business, but he's he's always been very appreciative towards me. He sends me messages and always invites me to come to his store in Florida. But of course, I've never been to Florida, so I don't see that happening.
Oh, you never have? Yeah, I don't see that
ever. But anyway, so we run into him again. And I'm going to tell the first part first.
Okay, go ahead.
We run into him again. He's like, "Hey, Dan, what's up? Remember me?" And I'm like, we shake hands. We start chatting.
And I just want to let y'all know, this is when we are doing our 1 hour walk before the show opens up.
So we see him, and I say, of course, I say, "Hey, what do you have this time? What's in your pocket this time?" Right? To show me. And this is what is interesting that he said. He said, "Oh, you know what? All those cards, all those $100,000 cards, that 6-figure cards that we had, they're gone down now. We don't have anything like that anymore." So even he has downsized his collection a lot.
Even he has. Wow.
Yeah, he said, those cards don't exist anymore. They're all gone. The market tanked, basically, is what he said. And I thought that was very interesting because this guy does a lot of high volume business. I think he does a lot of wax and breaking. So he does. He's very educated, very in tune with the market. So for him to say, no more 6-figure cards, no more LeBrons, nothing like that, that's interesting to me, which is why I was telling you, I feel like people are trying to downsize to that under $10,000 price range.
Right.
So that was interesting. And then the second part of this, I'm going to hand this off to you. He introduces himself to us. You introduce your name to him.
You introduced me to him.
Okay, yeah. And then we exchanged names.
The father and son. And
I said, "This is Merlin."
I said, "Hey, pleasure meeting you all."
And then he goes, "Wait a second." And then you guys start talking about family, uncles and aunts.
No, he asked me, "Is Merlin a first name or from a last name?" And I was like, "Merlin is actually from my last name." And he goes, "Well, we're related to Merlins. Do you know Merlins in the Miami area?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my entire family, my whole father's side." And he's like, "Do you know Merlins in Plantation?" I was like, "Well, my father lived in Plantation. He passed away 5 years ago, and I was down there for the Merlin convention." He's like, "Yeah, we're related to the Merlins." And he's like, "Do you know Tracy and Elliot Merlin?" I'm like, "I think I met them at the convention back in 2018. So they called up some of my cousins and found out that these guys were my distant cousins.
Isn't that crazy? Small world, huh?
I know, right? It's in the Merlin blood. Collecting cards is in the Merlin blood.
Yeah, and they were so excited that
they've been writing me like crazy.
They called up your uncle or something right away, and they're like, "Hey,
no, my other cousin, Ellie and Tracy."
Yeah, they were calling up all these people, and I was like, "Wow, this is what a crazy ass story to run into these guys." And we had met him the year before, but he hadn't put it together at that point, right?
No, because he's the first one. He showed me the card first, and I pointed to go talk to you. Like, if we had not run into again, that means I would have come across some cousins of mine and never even realized it.
Yeah.
If you hadn't said anything, Dan.
Right. So that's so
thank you.
So maybe we should go down to Florida and have a Merlin family reunion at his shop or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. But,
yes.
So that was another interesting thing that happened there. Anything else you want to share?
Did you sell any piggy banks cards?
I did. Okay, so this is.
You said you were going to bring them down. You kept showing them for the past month, Dan.
So I may have started another shitstorm.
What?
I think we're gonna see some people make some angry videos about what's going on here. Okay. So for those you guys that don't know, I'm a big Piggy Banks fan. Piggy Banks, if you don't know, he's an artist where his medium is trading cards. So he designs art and he puts it into a trading card form. I've shown off a lot of his stuff on my channel. I'm a big fan. He's local here, so I know him. I'm friends with him. And I've known him for about 2 years now. I've seen him grow his business and his portfolio of art for the last 2 years. So I've become a fan of his. So I told him, I said, look, dude, because he wasn't set up at the National. And I said, look, I'm going to bring some cards, some of my personal collection to the National. I'm going to put, I don't want to sell price on it if anybody asks, and I'm just going to display your stuff. And I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to educate people on who you are and give you some exposure, right? So I put out my Piggy Banks collection. I had like 6 or 8 cards that I put out. And man, the feedback on those things was incredible. Like,
really?
Everybody stopped at my table and asked me, what are those? They look awesome. They're incredible. What are they? So I spent a good amount of time just explaining to people what Piggy Banks cards are. I feel like he should have paid me for that, to be honest, because I feel like I was definitely a brand ambassador for him that weekend. And one guy his name is John. He's based in Virginia. He kept like coming and hanging out at Brian's table because he's real big into soccer.
Oh.
And he kept like looking over, like he's hanging at Brian's table, and he's always like kept looking over, at my case and looking at that my card, the Messi Ronaldo card where Ronaldo is crowning Messi as the GOAT.
And what's that one referred to as?
I forget the name of it, to be honest.
The crown or something?
Something like that. I forget the name. But he kept looking at that for like 2 days. And then finally, I walk over and I open up the case, I pull it out, and I say, look, dude, just look at it. Take a look at it. Take a picture, whatever you want, because he just kept looking at it. And, we start talking. I start explaining to him about who Piggy Banks is. He knows about him, but he doesn't have any of his pieces. He says that he couldn't get any of his pieces. We start talking, and I'm talking Piggy Banks up. I'm explaining to him the process and everything like that. We start talking about art, collecting art, and all that stuff. And then finally, he just buys it for me, or he asked me what my price on it, and I said $2,000. $2,000 is my I don't want to sell price. I'm really just displaying these things. Okay, that's the price. And then he starts to try to negotiate with me a little bit. He's like, well, would you take this? Would you take that? And I said, I really don't want to sell it. This is my price to get it out of my hands, but I really don't want to sell it because look at it. I'm never going to get another one. They're all one of ones, unique pieces. And finally, he just says, you know what? I want it. I'll pay for it. Okay. And then I made content about that, and people saw that I sold it. And I think immediately, not immediately, but the last few days, people have been hitting me up that have Piggy Banks cards, and they're asking me to price their cards. Other people who have Piggy Banks cards have been making posts, tagging me in it, saying, hey, we have Piggy Banks cards too. Come check them out. So I think I inadvertently started a shitstorm with this, which I did not intend to at all, to be honest, because I don't want people to start buying up Piggy Banks cards because you can buy them. He releases them in his drops for $200 right off the bat, but they sell out almost instantly. Okay, so they're hard to get. Okay, you got to be like you gotta be in the know to be able to actually acquire one at that price because they sell out. But on this, on the secondary market, I don't want them to be, people just try to flip them. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want people to buy them for $1,000, $2,000, and then sell them for $1,500 or $2,500, $3,000, because that type of activity is not sustainable. You know what I mean? And I think that it would just kind of like cause a lot of problems for people. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I'm already getting messages from people either asking me to price their cards or asking me to share their stories that they have piggy banks cards or whatever. So I'm just telling these people, I'm like, don't do it. Okay. Don't flip these cards unless somebody really wants it and somebody's going to be a fan. Don't do that, because I can already see some of these idiots out there making videos about me pumping the piggy banks cards and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting thing. So we'll see what develops with that. But as a fan of his art, piggy banks, I was really happy that I met somebody else that valued it enough, that wanted that card so badly that they were willing to pay up for it. And I think that's a great sign for artists, custom card artists, and artists in general within the hobby.
Nice. Yeah. Now, was he even there, piggy banks?
He was there for like one day.
Okay. Did he come into our booth?
He did come to our booth. He dropped off a couple cards for me to display. The do I have it here? Let's see here. Oh, I do, right here. He dropped off his super fractors. So he actually made two super fractors.
That's right.
Here's the Jumpman.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. The Mandalorian.
Yeah, super fractor version. It's the only one he's ever made. It's pretty damn cool.
Woo!
Okay.
It's supposed to look like a Galaxy Chrome card.
Yes. And then the other one he made is the companion one, which this one's called Sif a la Kurosawa.
What? He made one to be like Kurosawa.
Yeah.
But they're Sifs instead.
Yeah, let me try to get that focus.
And it's funny because it's kind of countering. So they're on the left side, whereas the Jedis are on the right side in the Kurosawa one.
Yes. So this
I noticed that. And then you have the Death Star in the background instead of the rising sun.
Yeah, you got a TIE fighter there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet, man. I didn't see that one.
So but these are not mine. He just put them, he gave them to me to display.
Then we got to get that one. We got to get that Sith Kurosawa.
Yeah, he said it's not for sale.
Dang it.
I have to give them back to him, but
oh no.
He was only there for like a day, and I asked him, I said, hey, why don't you want to stay longer? And he's like, nah, this is like too much for me. Too much.
It is too overwhelming.
Yeah, he's an artist. He's a real artist. He's not there to set up a table and sell his cards like we do. But that was pretty cool. I thought that was really interesting. I also met another artist. I was
going to tell you, yeah.
I think his name is Justin Ferrano. I think that's how you say it, Justin Ferrano. He makes
yes, it is.
He makes these really high-end sports card, not sports cards, but sports themed artwork.
Sports theme and some pop culture too.
Yeah, just amazing stuff. I don't want to talk about his stuff too much because I'm still learning about it, but I definitely.
It wasn't cheap, Dan.
No, it was like an original one of his. He was selling for $100,000 plus, and then just for a canvas print, they call it like a Geekly or something like that. I can't pronounce it. Geekly or something like that. Just it's like a high quality canvas print, numbered, range in the $5,000, $10,000, $20,000.
So is it similar to a lithograph?
It's more. It's better. It's higher quality.
It is. That's what I thought.
And it's on canvas.
Okay, it looked like it.
Yeah, as opposed to paper, but they're like signed and numbered. They're signed by the artist. They're signed by the athletes. He had like Michael Jordan, Mike Trout,
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. He had like Upper Deck licensed athletes there. So that was pretty cool. I'm getting really into this original artwork scene. So seeing that was a pretty cool crossover.
And they had a Notorious B.I.G., a Biggie Smalls.
Oh, yeah. Too. Yeah. So interesting things like that. I'm trying to get the guy. He wants us to work with him. He wants us to promote.
I know. He stopped us twice, man.
Right?
Twice.
So maybe we can start working with them in the future. But I told him, I said, you got to do some pop culture stuff, man. You got to do like a Spider-Man, a Stan Lee, or something cool if you want us to get involved. But that was interesting. And then the third artist I met there was Luke. Artist.
I love Luke. He and I are good friends. Great guy.
I picked up this. I'm going to show you real quick here. I picked up his 1969 Dr. J art.
Well, that's from 69.
Yeah, 1969. Look at this. It's just so cool. This looks like something out of a TV show intro from the 70s where they would be like, do, and then they do all that.
Yeah, it's got like this like retro graffiti on it.
Yeah, I just love it. I saw him post this on his Instagram. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of his artwork for the modern cards. But when I saw him post this on his Instagram, I was like, wow, that is awesome.
He gives it a more period look.
Yes.
And when he signs it on the back, it makes a 1 of a 1 and puts some. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Very
cool.
So
what he does is use the cards as the canvas.
Yes. Yeah. So I was able to pick this up from him. So I'm super happy to add that to my collection. But I actually lost this. Sorry, guys. I actually lost this card.
I was going to ask you, can you tell us the story?
So when we were going to trade night, I had this in my hand. I was going to shoot content about it. And it was so damn hot walking from the convention to this hotel for trade night that when we got there, we were all like sweating and out of breath that we went straight for the water cooler in the lobby. And I had this card in my hand and I put it down. It was in a box, but I put it down and I was drinking water and I forgot it because I was just like so tired that I put it down and I left it there and I forgot it. And then I was freaking out because I thought I had lost it. I thought somebody had stolen the card. And luckily for me, housekeeping picked it up and they didn't know what the hell it was. And they actually threw it in the trash. And I called the hotel at like midnight, and I begged the night manager to please look at the surveillance camera, figure out what time that they picked it up and figure out what trash bin they put it in. And they actually were able to track it down. So I got to give a lot of credit to the Crown Plaza Hotel for providing me excellent service, even though I didn't stay there.
And probably them throwing it in the trash can probably saved it.
Yes, because anybody that would have opened the box and saw this, I guarantee they would have taken it.
Oh, most definitely. Sure.
And I had felt sick to my stomach.
I know. He was so stressed out.
I was so upset with myself for making that mistake. But luckily, I was able to recover the card. So now it is in my collection.
Dan was just stressing out hard in the room. And then when they finally called him around like midnight, he's had all this like pent up energy. He's like, Merlin, I just got to do a live feed right now. Do you want to do it with me right now? It's like, I couldn't even talk. He's like, I can't sit still right now. I've got to do something. I'm just so relieved that he started filming me in bed in my CPAP machine.
No, I was filming. I was like, you were behind me, and I was doing my.
I know. Like, there's Merlin back there. I hear everybody ask me, "What's Merlin doing back there?"
Yeah, and then your sheets were like moving up and down. And
don't say that. No,
what's going on there? So it was fun. It was just like a goofball moment that we had that night.
I had to get rid of some pent-up energy too, Dan, but in a different way.
Okay, all right.
Listen. I want to. Here's a quick timeout, real quick. I just got a flash news, guys. Do you remember that one ring, that the Lord of the Rings one ring card that's coming out? Was it Magic the Gathering?
Yeah.
I heard Post Malone just bought it for $2.6 million.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yes. Sports cards nonsense. Just sent me a flash. Woo!
Is that worth it? I gotta ask. I really gotta ask. Okay?
I guess in the eyes of celebrities, it is.
I mean, okay. Let's break this down.
Him and Aoki are probably fighting for it right now.
Let's break this down for a second. So they just made this card this year. Right? They did a crossover, Lord of the Rings crossover.
And was this a pack pulled card?
Yes, pack pulled, 1 of 1. They just made this card this year. Like, why? What's so special about it? You know what I mean? Like, why does he have to? Like, why does anybody? I guess I understand why they want it, but for that price, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, because I guarantee you, they're gonna make another one. With the success that this had, they're going to do some type of crossover, another one or whatever, and they're going to make another 1 of 1 chase card out there. at some point, right?
Right.
But I want to know, what does that card do within the game? Because Magic is all about playing with the cards. It's not.
But then why do they slab them from like the ones from the 90s and stuff? Just like they do Pokemon.
Well, but because
Pokemon's a game too. They're all TCGs.
I met this guy at Culture Collision last year. I forget his name, but he claims to be like the #1 Magic player in the world.
Really?
The #1 Magic card collector in the world. This guy claimed to be. And I was asking him about like, hey, do you guys grade cards? Like, what's the deal with Magic cards and PSA? And he's like, yeah, we grade some cards, but really it's about the card itself, not necessarily the condition of the card, because we play with the cards in tournaments and stuff. So I'm wondering, what the hell does this ring card do? Does it like automatically allow you to win the game? Like what does it do that would warrant a price other than the fact that they put a 1 of 1 on it and they made out a 4 card, right? Because there's other ring cards in that set. There's other Sauron ring cards in that set that are not numbered 1 of 1. So you can pull the ring card, but that's the only one. So I wonder, like, what do you get for that other than the fact that they put a 1 of 1 on it? Because it just seems a little bit too crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Like even in the sports card terms, they had the LeBron James triple logo man, right?
Okay.
Those were like game used logo men from 3 different eras of LeBron James.
It
right?
was.
So that's like, they can't replicate that necessarily, I don't think. I don't think they would, but they did. So that's like really unique piece of memorabilia right there. Other than that, like what other card? The Mickey Mantle high grade, like a PSA 9.5, the SGC, but that's vintage, right? So that's a different category. So what other kind of modern category would warrant such a crazy ass price on something like that? You know what I mean? The Pokemon Pikachu illustrated card that Logan Paul bought for like $6 million or whatever it was. Again, that's a vintage card. That's considered vintage. What other card has come out where it can command a secondary value like that? Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's really, especially modern cards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a Mantle or a Honus Wagner or something like that
it's different. Vintage cards, different category, but for modern cards,
but still, it's crazy.
Yeah, that it would warrant a price like that. So, anyways, okay, let's move on to that topic before
I actually want to make that announcement.
Before the Magic people start to attack us and cast spells.
Oh, you're in trouble already, Dan. Yeah. You're in trouble.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up? Any last minute thoughts, takeaways from the National before we get into comments?
I'll just say, if you weren't there, you missed out. I mean, everywhere we went, we ran into people who knew us. It was a great time, to share things with people and just a good camaraderie of people. And it was great. It was a great time. There was so much positive energy in the air. And I think that's, one thing that's really most important. And I think some of the people at all the trade nights, when I had a chance to, make conversations with everyone, I think this is what card collecting is all about. I mean, people kind of we have people from all over the world who have different types of views, like even political views, or customs or whatever, but we drop all that. We're not talking about this at these shows. We're not talking about our differences. We're talking about what similarities we have with each other. And this is the collecting hobby, the card investing hobby. And all we care about is talking about sharing what we've picked up, what we've sold, what we've pulled out of packs. I mean, we're just like kids again. We're not adults stressing over everyday life situations at this moment. It's a time to escape.
Well said. It was definitely a escape from reality for that. Yes. Like that 4 to 5 days living in that little bubble inside the convention center. It was definitely an escape from reality. For sure, for a lot of us, like being in Disneyland, as I like to say. Mm-hmm. And I said this before too. You're spot on when you say that it's really about the camaraderie and the people. I tell people this, like a lot of people when you ask them, like leading up to the National, they'll say, "Are you going to go?" And they're like, it's not worth my time, or it's not worth the cost. I'm not going to make my money back. If I'm going to fly here to there, if I'm going to pay for a hotel, if I'm going to pay for all this, whatever, I'm not going to make my money back. That's what they say, right? That's their excuse for not going. And yes, our hobby is really focused on the transactional aspect of it, right? Making money, paying for itself, things like that, making a profit, right? But I'll tell you this, it's really like these national conventions. I mean, money and cards is part of it. It's the activity that gets us there. It's what makes us, it's what fills up our time. But really, it's not about the money at all, guys. It's about the people. Okay. It's not about the money. It's about the people. It's not even about the cards itself. It's about the relationships that you can build and cultivate there. The people that you meet from different countries, the people that you meet, that you chat with online, the networking that you can do that can lead to different opportunities or different friendships, the memories you make at dinner. We had some great dinners with people, some great conversations,
good bonding time.
Yes. The memories that you make, at trade nights, the level of camaraderie that develops when you guys are in a hot ass convention center and you're in it together. You know what I mean? And you're suffering with people together. And now you have this war story that you can share with future generation of hobbyists that, I was there in 2023 at Chicago when it was 90 degrees and we were still trading cards. We didn't care about anything. We were just doing deals, you can tell those stories now. That's what it's about, guys. That is what the National is about. It is truly a special event. All the other card shows in the country, they have that to a degree, but not at the level of the National. So if you did not go and you felt FOMO, use that as an example for next year. Try your best to organize your schedule to save up enough money where you can make that trip out there, because you will not regret it. Trust me.
Nice.
Yes.
Well said.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll go into the comments section. The next big show for us, actually, we'll talk about that later. Let's just get into the comments. Okay.
Dan. Timeless Cardboard. Looking forward to your breakdown of the National, which we've done. I appreciate it. Looking forward to your show. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Lance Suarez. Hello, Dan. Just wanted to say hi. Met you at the Comic-Con at the Albert Moy original art table. Now, did you buy some Albert Moy art?
I do not. No, I didn't do that. I didn't even talk about San Diego Comic-Con. We've been so busy, but San Diego Comic-Con was
you jumped right into it. You've had a hell of a week because you went straight from that to the National, whereas you were like stuck at airport for almost 24 hours. Then you went straight to the convention where it was 400 degrees inside and humidity was the thickest I've ever felt it in my life. So I was like, God, I hope Dan's going to make it through it.
Yeah, I survived, guys. Nothing was going to stop me. I'm the hardest working man in the hobby. Nothing's going to stop me.
You worked hard for it, man.
Yes.
Oh, Lance, I like your Rod Serling photo. Fato X cards. What a whirlwind. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I agree. Carlos, Rise and Shine, Curator, Army Time. Adrian, CV Sports Cards. He should have been there for sure. You should have been there. Can't believe you weren't there. We got to drag your ass out there sometime. Welcome back, gentlemen. Adrian, we'll see you soon, brother. Big John, collector cards. John, were you there, dude? Merle gonna start and only cards. Oh, gosh. There are some like that. It's a good idea. I think some of Dan's clients would be on these cards for sure. Andrew, Dan and Merle, when Fanatics becomes a public company, do you think it would be good or bad for the hobby? Could you ever see grading card companies in the stock market, Dow Jones? I can, but Dan, what do you think about it?
Yeah, because they're a business and they're a company.
Yeah.
PSA.
But is that a good thing or bad?
I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I don't have any issue with it. But I mean, maybe did people not know PSA was a public company up until
they're not anymore?
No, Nat Turner bought them.
And made it private?
Yeah, he took them private. But up until Nat Turner came in a couple years ago, PSA was a public company. You could have bought stock for them.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't see anything problem. It is what it is. The people don't like the big corporations coming into the hobby. They're saying it's changing too much. But dude, guys, look at the National. That doesn't happen. That the scale of the National this year and the production level with all the corporate booths, that doesn't happen unless there's money that comes into the convention, the show. And money doesn't come unless it's going to be an investment on the behalf of some business that's trying to get in on this industry. So, as consumers, we're going to win no matter what, guys, So I'm all for it. I think it's pretty cool.
So what would have happened if I had stock in PSA and it got bought out and became a private company? What happens to my stock then?
Usually they buy you at a certain point. So like, let's just say, I'm
going to make money then.
Yeah, usually. I remember I was looking at PSA stock at that time and it was like $13.
Okay.
Right? So usually if you're going to get bought out, then they'll come out and they'll say, okay, your stocks are $13. We'll give you $15 per stock. Something like that.
$2 more per share.
Yeah. And then you just get bought out.
Gotcha.
Same thing happened with Twitter when Twitter was public, and then Elon Musk took it over and he paid a little bit more premium for the current stock price. And now he can do whatever he wants with it,
Gotcha. Andrew, also, what are you guys' thoughts on Gary V's V-Friends? Have you bought any or consider in the future? We had a few talks about that this week. And I mean, Gary's booth was pretty interesting, and it was packed over there every time I walked by it.
Yeah, he had a big booth. You could tell he spent money there, and he was there all weekend.
Definitely.
He was mingling with people.
Oh, yeah, he was out everywhere. Everybody has photos with him.
They were hosting events. But here's what I think is interesting about this. I was just thinking about this today, too. So when V-Friends was created, it was created as an NFT, okay? He drew these pictures and he put them as an NFT that people could buy, and they went for crazy amount of money. They went for like $36,000. People kept flipping them and stuff like that when NFTs were at their height, and he made a ton of money doing that. And then the NFT market kind of crashed, right? And I don't know what they're worth now, but I know they crashed for sure. And the whole idea of an NFT was like, it's digital. You don't need a physical thing. It's a digital collectible that you track on your digital wallet or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you get different type of perks from it. You get to go to his convention. You get different things, right?
Right.
I've noticed since the NFT market crashed that he's pivoted from just being all digital to physical now, physical cards, books, board games, stickers, whatever else that he has there. And at that show, he was just selling all physical stuff, right? Cards, right. Stuffed animals, all these things. So isn't that interesting that what started off as an NFT, which was the whole selling point was that it was a cool digital collectible that you could carry around forever and people could see that you had it and whatever, to now coming back full circle to it's a physical collectible. They open packs, and they open the packs, and the packs to have like numbered parallels. They have 1-of-1s. They grade them in PSA slabs now and all that stuff. So they've totally pivoted back to what the collectible market originally was. I thought that was interesting. And I'm not, I'm a fan of Gary Vee, so I'm not like talking shit about it. I actually think it's a smart move as a business person.
Okay.
If you create this thing and the market crashes around that, you want to still keep your brand, your idea going. So you just kind of pivot it and you do something else. I think that's a smart thing. But I just think it's kind of ironic how it's kind of like gone back to what originally it opposed, which was physical collectibles, which let that be a lesson. No matter what happens, you will never replace physical items. Even when they tried to do like digital ebooks, digital comics, and they were saying it was going to replace like printed books and comics, that never happened, right? Same thing with this, you will never replace physical collectibles in my mind.
Meme Maker, does the Actors Writers Guild Union provide money while on strike? Yes, they have a limited amount. Even the guilds, I mean, we're all affected. Even the guilds that aren't on strike have a plan to help struggling, filmmakers out. Ed Ram, evening fellows from Houston town. Ed, you should have been there, dude. Missed you. Meme, the Flippin' Steve Sports Car Dad podcast said the hottest thing at the show was Type 1 photos. That's correct, guys.
All right. Let's talk about this. I think we need a little bit of credit for this, okay? Me specifically, Merlin, because
I know he's giving me a hard time, guys, about it, saying I got him on the.
All right, Merlin's made a lot of money this past.
I got him addicted. He got me addicted to it.
Okay, so when we walked around, my impression was I didn't see a lot of booths with Type 1 photos.
I didn't either this time. I felt like I saw more last year.
Maybe some had like vintage baseball, but not that many. Honestly, like 5% of booths maybe had like really old ass vintage baseball Type 1 photos, right?
And I saw the most of them though were at the auction houses.
Yes, so the auction houses, they all had Type 1 on display. So there saw it. So I'm gonna say that our booth had a really dedicated amount of Type 1, a space dedicated to Type 1 photos, or type photos, we should say. Right. It's not really Type 1 anymore because there's Type 2, 3, 4. Right. So I
sold a lot of Type 3s as well.
Yeah. So which
are like press photos.
But I'm just saying, we put it out there. We were the trendsetters. Okay. You can clip this. We were the trendsetters for the Type photos at the show. We not only had vintage baseball or vintage sports, but we had entertainment photos, and everybody stopped at our table. Everybody loved it. A lot of people took notice about this. So I'm going to tell you, people are going to start like bringing these things out and showing them off because they are definitely a very cool collectible, and they check all those boxes in terms of rarity, relevance, display quality, population reports, all that stuff. The Type photos are really cool. So, I'm glad that other people took notice of it, but make sure you give us credit because we're the pioneers here.
Yeah. And I would, add to that some of the guys who were like the biggest Type 1 photo collectors there were really impressed with our booth and with what we had, like pop culture wise.
Yeah.
That made me feel good. Like I've done something right, even though I've been in it for probably like a month and a half now because of Dan. Yes. And also gas trading card guys. They got me all into it with the pop culture area. Dexflow Toys. Merle, you were wrong. I was offered $4K for the Blood and Light booklet. So how much were you going to sell it to Dan for then?
I think he offered me like $3K one time.
Okay.
Not a bad price.
Okay, sorry, Dex Flows. We'll see you at Anaheim, correct? Mark the Collector. Happy Tuesday party, people. Mark, you should have been there too. There was a lot of wrestling, dude.
Oh, look at this stranger here.
Oh, Dakota, what's up, dude? Were you there as well? I miss you, man. Sports Card Anonymous. We got to get together, do a show, talk about our fantasy picks for this fall. Dan, do you do fantasy football? So hopefully, we can do fantasy football with Dakota.
Yeah, I'm in a couple fantasy leagues. I'm not really that into it, to be honest.
Have you ever won?
I have. I've won many times.
Listen to that, folks. Listen to him. Oh my goodness.
I never won.
It's hard to believe.
Okay, here is my one of my championships.
Oh my goodness! Look at it. Bring it back a little. There you go. It's fun. Oh, whoa! Wow.
My championship rings from fantasy football.
Wait a minute. I've never got anything like that for winning.
Okay, you got to play in my leagues. My leagues are serious.
Mine are too, believe me.
But ever since,
one of mine's $1,000 buy-in. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I can't get that to focus. But yeah, I got
some ballers.
Yeah, I got this cool ring. Ever since I got into cards, I'm just like, I'm not as into fantasy as I used to be. But I used to be like really hardcore.
I love fantasy.
Yeah,
I love fantasies. Carlos, loyal supporters of Curator Shirt showing love. Loved it. Yes, they were tickled pink, man. Those guys showed me too. We're so happy.
That's so cool that they had that. And then you know what? Okay, so I'm going to share this with you guys, okay? They discovered my kryptonite. Because this dude, that Mike, the guy with the glasses and hat, he bought a couple items from me, and he tenderized me good.
What? You got tenderized?
Not tenderized by him. He bought like a comic from me and some cards. And
was it because they wore the shirts?
Yes. Like
it was?
The dude's buying something for me, and he tenderizes me and gives me like this low offer. How can I say no? The dude is wearing my shirt. The dude bought my shirt to support me, and he's wearing it at the national convention. How can I say, nah, dude, here, you got to pay up more? Or how can I counter and make him pay more when he's supporting me, right? Like, I can't do it. So I said, okay, I'll give you the deal. He found my kryptonite by wearing my shirt. So if you guys ever want to try to tenderize me on a deal, just wear my shirt, and I give you a good deal.
Then I need to hurry and buy a shirt and wear it at every show. Andrew, did any of the haters come up to you in your table, or just AIH guy that avoided you and didn't say anything? And then that old man that I missed, I had just gotten there after he left, and Dan pointed to him. But AIH just came up and talked to me because he was actually hanging out with Flippin' Steve and oh gosh, what's the other guy? Like blanked out, Michael and Neo and all them. And I think he would have come talk to you, but you weren't there for the longest time. And then at the very end, that he and I were talking, that you showed up, and for like 30 seconds, I was asking myself, should I or shouldn't I? And I went my gut feeling and didn't. But Dan, if he had asked me to introduce him to you, I would probably have done it. Would you have killed me?
Killed you? No. But I would have had a very serious conversation with him.
Okay. Sure, because I would have introduced you and then walked away cautiously.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've never actually talked to him directly, either through DMs or anything like that. The dude just makes videos about me, and I've always thought he was kind of like a clout chaser. He was always trying to like take over my platform because he makes these videos about me. He's trying to get me to acknowledge him. And through these videos, he's challenged me to debate certain topics on his channel because he wants the views. So I've always ignored him because I thought he was just like a little clout chasing, piece of shit, to be honest. So I would have had a very, very serious face-to-face discussion with him about what his issue is, and I would have tried to like resolve it. It would not have been nice for him, to be honest. But I wouldn't have been mad at you if you introduced him.
Okay.
I was more annoyed that you took a picture with him and you gave him exposure because that little shit's been talking.
Hey, come on! No, I got exposure and I got more followers, subscribers. I got to do the same thing he did to you. He got more subscribers and followers because of you. Yeah. Why can't I do the same, Dan? Please.
He had his chance. He was there. I'll give him credit for actually.
Hey, I've got like 200. I got 200 likes because of that picture.
I'll give him credit for actually going to a show for once and hanging out with people and talking to people. So
that's what it's all about, right?
At least he's kind of part of the hobby, or he made an effort to be part of the hobby, because it seems like he's not. But he had his chance. He had his chance to approach me and talk to me like a man, and I think he kind of chickened out. And it is what it is.
But I did love how Steve and Neo pawned him off to me. But he was a nice guy, small little dude, but nice. Dexflow Toys, great curator. Merle, how did the wrestling do at the National? Jesus Christ, it did amazing. Yeah, amazing. We've talked a lot about it. Tony, you guys get early bird tickets to LA Comic Con today. When is that one? When's LA Comic Con?
I don't know, but I'm not going to go because that convention in downtown LA is the worst convention setting in the world.
Why is that?
Parking, traffic, it is terrible.
Traffic, like foot traffic?
No, just like traffic to get there, to try to find parking. You got to park.
No, I was just taking Uber. I literally live 2 miles down the street, Dan. You know that.
That's convenient for you, but for the rest of us, we drive. We got to drive there.
Well, you just come over and park at my place and just take an Uber.
It's not worth it. No, I think it's a trash
shit show.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go to that.
Michael Ham was there too. Yes. What's up, guys? Mike, thanks for carrying my case over to the sports card therapist trade night. But I think I would have died and been in the ER if you didn't help me. Mike's a really nice guy. Check out his channel. He had some good content on the National. Aaron Yagurdran, I know you guys had a bad experience at the expo in Canada. Any chance you guys would give it a second chance? I'll pass that over to Dan.
Probably not, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people want us to go back because they want to meet us. A lot of people that live.
I'd like to go back and try the food, Dan, for once. May stay an extra couple of days.
It's just too much of a pain in the ass to go from California all the way across the country to get into Canada, and the inventory there is like it's not
hockey.
It's not our demographic, It's mostly hockey, mostly baseball, and the people that buy the kind of stuff that we have, I don't think it's enough to support us going all the way out there with the expenses and everything like that. So I don't think so. Plus, this is not a knock on the city of Toronto, but the organization, the way that they kind of set us up there last time. They put us all the way in the back with the kiddie tables.
Oh yeah, we literally had Fisher Price display cases, guys. Like my very first card show.
Yeah, they gave us display cases meant for like top loaders instead of slabs.
They were actually shocked that I had brought the graded cards.
Yeah, it's not the type of show that we could travel to, to be honest. Now, if they did one on the West Coast, if they did one in Calgary, I'd be for that.
Or Vancouver,
I'd be for that, because it's less hassle for us to get there. But to try to get to Toronto, it was difficult. But we did meet a lot of cool people out there. So
we did. We still, see all these people.
Speaking of that, if we can just segue real quick here.
That's fine.
The Asian show in Macau. I'm very intrigued by this.
Yeah, I was telling Maria last night about this.
So I looked on their website. The website doesn't have anything. So I don't know how professional this show is going to be. But I like the idea of us going to Macau, because when I think of Macau, I think of like James Bond, because they did a movie there with Daniel Craig, I think, in Macau.
Were they still playing Baccarat?
Yeah. So it's like I just think of Macau of being like this crazy, glamorous, city for gambling and things like that. And then I think,
is it very close to Hong Kong?
It's like, it's like across from Hong Kong.
Okay. Because Maria was like, she's Cantonese. So she's like, well, if I have to go and we're going to Hong Kong too.
So
as a family.
I think it would be cool setting. I don't know, like, if it would be a well-run show organized or anything like that. I imagine, I like to think that there's a lot of money that will be at that show because
it's in a casino, isn't it?
It's in a casino. It's like all the Asian countries. People keep saying that China has like a huge market of whales.
Yeah, I ship a lot of pop culture cards to China.
So I'm kind of interested in that, but getting out there is going to be a pain in the ass.
I would love to go, Dan, especially eat some really good food there.
It's going to be like $2,000 plus for a ticket. Hotel's going to be whatever the hotel's going to be. It's going to be like a 15-hour flight.
I need you to do your work and get us like some sponsors and get us some free rooms.
Because I'm thinking myself,
you're talking, bro.
I'm telling you, nobody else is as crazy as you and me that would actually go out there.
I know.
I don't think anybody else would go out there. I don't think Blez, Rough Cards, Mojo, Jeff Wilson. I don't think any of those guys would dare go out.
Well, see, I have more of an incentive to go, just more than just the card show.
Yeah.
I can see my girlfriend's people,
and I could make a vacation out of it.
Some food.
My family, we love going to Asia. We could go to different countries. We could go to Thailand. Stop off at Thailand. We could stop off at Korea or something. So we can make a trip out of it for sure. But I just don't think anybody's crazy enough to do it. So,
well, I'm just saying it's more practical for us.
I mean, in terms of making money, I think it's a loss leader. I think we're going to go out there. We're going to lose money in terms of all the expenses versus what we actually sell. But think of the content. Think of the amazing content that we could shoot there, meeting all these people from Asia, seeing all the crazy type of cards that are being stashed out there, being at Macau of all places. I think it would be an amazing experience if we're committed to spending the money and committed to spending the time out there, because it's not like a weekend trip. It's at least a 2-week trip, for me anyways. It's probably going to be a whole month long for me if I have to go out there. So we got to talk about that. We got to do some more research.
Okay. Yes. Listen, when is it?
December 8 to 10.
Okay, we got to hurry up and think about it then. Yeah. Is this a new one? What would you like to see at a Fanatics Live event? Is there certain things they can bring to the table that even the National doesn't or hasn't done?
I think in production value, they can bring a lot of cool stuff, but I think that they can bring in more celebrities and athlete involvement with cards. And I saw them do that. I saw them breaking at the National, like Allen Iverson was breaking in 1986 Flair basketball set. He pulled 2 Michael Jordans. It was crazy. But I think that they can do that. And I'm not just talking about like having athletes sign autographs there, like having athletes on the showroom floor taking pictures with people. Derek Jeter was there taking pictures with people. Brian Urlacher was there. Allen Iverson was there. All these different athletes interacting with people. I think that would be really cool, because that's the next level of production value, where you have an interactive entertainment experience versus just like, you know, an experience. You go there, you trade cards, you get autographs, like most shows, you know, that's like entry level. Then next level up is you go there, you meet athletes, you participate, you interact with them, and you build memories, you know? So I think that's what Fanatics can do, and I'm all for it.
Good. Dexflow Toys, great curator Merle. I live somewhat close to the Burbank card show. If you guys are interested in WWE inventory, I'm moving 6 Color Blast, a Bloodline booklet, and a 2021 Finest Charlotte Flair complete rainbow.
I didn't know Dexflow lived here in Orange County.
Well, now you know. Y'all live pretty close to each other, in because Dan lives down. He probably lives upstairs from you.
For some reason, I thought Dex was like in like New York or something. I don't know.
On the East Coast?
Yeah. Okay. All right, Dex. We'll talk. Send me a message on Instagram.
And y'all probably, I bet you only live a half mile from each other. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Dexflow Toys. Yeah, that's true. They give awards for the best something in the registry, like David Peck for wrestling.
Oh, that's my goal now. I want to get some type of award for a registry set.
I wonder if I'm related to David Peck.
Oh, yeah, that'd be crazy.
Isn't that right? That'd be another strange coincidence. Yeah. Dexflow Toys. Inflation is why I spend less on cards. When you got idiots working fast food making more than caretakers where you need experience and training, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Meme Maker, what's the name of the trade Jordan you got?
Trade Jordan, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I traded a Nike promo PSA 10, 1985 Nike promo PSA 10.
The Jumpman card.
Yeah,
which is like a postcard.
Yeah, for an 86 Flair BGS 9 Jordan and cash.
Yeah, I remember you got that card when you got you bought a pair of Air Jordans that first year.
No, I got it at Dallas.
I'm saying that's how you get them.
Yeah.
I actually own one, and it's probably thrown away. I wish I had it. Carlos, I agree with Dan. 6-figure plus cards are a different game and difficult to move.
Yeah, it's really like when you get to that level, it's really like just a small group of like 10 guys, and they just trade these high-end cards. You know, it's like a boys club of doing that, and they just do it together, right? But it's very, very, very difficult to move those type of cards.
Marvelous Cards, Nostalgic Vibes and Collectibles. Wow, what a name. Grumpy Grumperson was just envious of your collection.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Dexflow Toys, why was he mad at you? Was it racial? Yes.
That, and obviously this dude is clearly one of the people
watching the troll channels.
Yeah. So, you know, I never even met the guy, but, you know, fuck that guy.
He looked like the poster boy for the troll channels. Yeah. I will say that. I think he had one tooth. Carlos, do you guys know where the next national will be held? Cleveland rocks. I've never been. I'm going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I go, though. M2 Fast. What's up, guys? Crazy national show. Yes, it was. Went by too fast, though. Dexflow Toys. Great curator. Did you notice how graded toys are slowly getting more love with showcase from Heritage? Yeah. Did you see many graded toys there, or toys in general, Dan?
In the auction house displays, yes. From vendors, no. But yes, Heritage is pushing graded toys hard. I know a lot of things about that, and if you've been watching my content, you'll probably understand why I've been picking up a lot of toys lately.
Yeah, I even saw a lot of graded VHS tapes too.
Yes. So, you know, if you guys want to know trends, go look at the auction houses and see what they're consigning.
And it's funny because we were actually very close next to REA auctions, which Dan talks about all the time on this show. Mm-hmm. Didn't you?
Yep.
Mark the Collector, need a West Coast national. Yes, we do, Mark. Finally.
Well, I think that's what Burbank is trying to be. They're trying to be like the West Coast national. And we'll see what happens, because this show in Anaheim next month, it's going to be as big as the national, I think.
They said 950 tables. 900
plus tables, vendor tables, corporate booths. Anaheim's not cheap, so they're spending a lot of money to be there.
So what do we have? 2 tables?
Yeah, 1 table for you, 1 for me.
Okay.
So tables together. Which, by the way, I think I'm telling you, like my experience at the National of having 7 display cases.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
That was a huge advantage than what we normally do.
Well, of course. We had 7 display cases. That's a lot.
Normally having like 2 to 4 display cases on a table, whatever.
Yeah. And then when you have those books and the Type 1 photos, that takes a lot of real estate up.
Yeah, so we might have to start like considering expanding our footprint. You know what I mean?
We're gonna be bigger ballers now, aren't we, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a pain in the ass to bring all that stuff, but it really contributed to a large amount of sales in my opinion.
I don't know if I can put 7 cases in my car though. I can, max is 5.
Okay, well,
but I'm gonna need some room after watching you though. I may lessen 1 display case if you need an extra display case from me, because I'm gonna need a little area, maybe put a box of my Type 1s instead of, because they were mostly in my suitcase, all the unauthenticated ones, unslabbed ones, and then also put a few shoe boxes of dollar cards like you did, because I saw that was really working. Oh, I can't even wave.
Who is this?
I don't know Korean. Korea? Is that Kim?
Is this one of our friends from Korea? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not good at Korean.
Is
that Denny? Is that Denny? What was that? What did they say? Dexflow Toys. If I was part of the national committee, only 3 locations I would consider is Alaska, Idaho, and Nebraska. Wow, Dexflow, that's as rural as you can get. M2 Fast. What cards are moving? Modern or vintage? A little of everything. From what I heard,
hard to say because we're not really in that category. But I would say still modern. Modern is still dominating. You know.
But it's funny because I really think vintage pop culture was really picking up there. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Here's a new person I haven't seen either. Stooks Baseball Cards and Curiosities. Of all the dealers with over 30 priority points, 18 are from the New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, the tri-state area. Yes, they are.
Yeah, see, more than half.
I did hear that. Yeah. I picked up on that last year.
How do you know that, Stoop? Are you part of that? I wonder.
Is he? Adam Grismore, fun running into piggy banks with Dan, the great curator. Enjoy the Curly and Stooges, Merlin. Yes, I have those. I want to show that part of my mail day. I got these. The Curly, he's hot right now. And then I love this one. He also sold to me was the guys on the heads, the taxidermy Stooges. That was a PSA 9 too. Thank you, Adam, for that deal. Meme Maker, vintage people don't value modern because of artificial scarcity, but a 2023 card going for 2.2 million shows otherwise. This just caused the younger, entertainment people are into this now. The wealthy people. Here's
a great analogy to understand the difference between vintage versus modern. Okay, so you know how vintage people always talk shit about modern, say, it's garbage,
right,
printed, there's nothing to it, with vintage stuff is much more rare, blah blah blah. Modern people don't like vintage because they're saying, who cares about these guys? I never saw them play. This is more relevant. These cards look cooler, right? So here's the analogy that I would use to kind of understand why both are cool, right? You don't have to have one or the other. You could appreciate both. You could collect one, but you can still respect and appreciate the other. Okay. And this is the analogy I'll use. Cars, not cards, automobiles. Okay. Some people like a vintage 1967 Camaro, all original parts, everything like that has that real, roar to it, the big engine, gas operated, Some people love the vintage looks. Okay. And then some people love like the vintage cars that are kind of beat up and have patina and have some rust, like those old trucks, 1970s, Ford Dodge trucks and things like that. But also some people really love modern supercars, like a Lamborghini, a Ferrari that's shiny, has all the bells and whistles. They just made them, but they add like certain features that make them more custom, more desirable. So you can, but they're both cool. And there's a market for both of them. You can have the modern supercar, or you can have the restored vintage car. And they both do well, and you can appreciate both sides. That's how I kind of look at cards. You know, I'm both a modern and a vintage guy. I like them both. I don't think it's one or the other. I love the shininess and the numbered chase cards and the relevant subject matter of a modern card. But I also love and appreciate the vintage, beat up, patinaed, cards that have story, that have history to them, that have become iconic. So I think there's room for both sides.
Ed Ram, were there any Five-Finger discounts at the National? Not at all. We didn't hear of any. There could be, but I didn't see anything posted yet. Have you?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Meme Maker, Dan has been through 4 tours of card shows with his band of brothers, General Dan. That's so true.
We definitely are starting to form a group of guys that we trust to be around. Like I've done card shows where I'm by complete strangers, and sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's annoying. But when you have people that you've been to different shows with, that you have war stories, that you've been in the trenches with, that you trust, that you can leave your case there and they'll watch over it. They'll watch over your money. They watch over your stuff. Definitely it makes the show experience a lot easier. And the group of guys that we had there, I thought was amazing. We had the 2 guys, Sung Hoon and BJ from Hobby Korea. We had Mr. Minty there. We had Brian and Troy, Sunday League investors there.
Mm-hmm.
We had Donald, the show locator.
Steve, the great writer.
He was there. He wasn't really there
for a day, but he was still there.
But yeah, so we had.
And then even though he's not on there, we had Donald had his friend Gavin, who works in the UPS thing, who really was a savior to us all. Who brought us fans, who brought us lunches. Who just took care of us overall. So big Gavin, if you're listening, shout out to you, dude. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
You got to go to shows with your friends. If you don't hang out with friends, it's not worth it.
Culture Shock Collectibles. I'll definitely be there next year. Glad y'all had a successful show. See y'all in Dallas. Thank you, man. Papa Jim, woo-hoo. Hello, guys. So glad you guys had an awesome national. Papa Jim, you got to come some of your dude.
We missed you, Jim.
Yes, come to Cleveland. We'll go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, brother. Carlos, do you think you guys will have an influencer card for next year?
No, I don't.
Well, so far we've got that one we get made through Whatnot at PSA. Yes, look at there. That one's just calling tops. Upper Deck, Fanatics, Panini, if you're listening. There you go. That would make a good refractor right there, Dan.
So let me get this.
Get back in focus.
I don't know.
Oh, it's worth. There you go. Woo.
So I'm uncomfortable when people use the term influencer with me. I call myself a content creator. I make a lot of content. Some of it people really love and it goes viral. Most of it, people don't even see. It just gets a couple hundred views or here or there. So I don't call myself an influencer. I kind of reject that term a little bit. Content creator. That's as far as I'm willing to go. Within the space of the hobby. So I don't think I'll ever be lucky enough to get a card like any of those other guys, but that's okay, because I have my own card and we have our community of fans. We got 53 people in the chat right now.
We've had a lot of people today.
So this is awesome. That's good enough for me.
Hey, 54 now. Ooh, someone heard you.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I got to screen. I'm trying to get through all these comments, but I got to screen some of them here.
Ozzy, Merlin, thanks for the education on Type 1 photos. Hey, man, it was my pleasure. Even though Dan took me in a corner and chastised me about telling everyone about it. But you're welcome. I've learned myself, so I like to pay it forward. Mark the Collector, next year I want to set up next to you guys. Mark, yeah, you did. I think it was great, though, that we had a lot of wrestling, and the booth next to us also had a wrestling. So we seemed to keep all that crowd together in that same area. Would you agree, Dan?
Yeah.
It kind of helped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it competed at all. Dexflow Toys, a great curator, bought one at the National. Won't say what he paid. What did you buy?
They're talking about the booklet.
The Bloodline, yes.
I got in a cash trade at $2,500. Cash trade $2,500.
And what did you trade?
21.
What did he give you?
He gave me the booklet.
Oh, then what'd you trade for it? That's what I meant.
The Bloodline booklet right here. I traded a Stone Cold Steve Austin purple Transcendent card, and then there was some other card I traded. I forgot, but.
And how do you feel about it?
Great. I feel great.
Okay.
The gentleman who gave me this, his name's like Austin. He's from Germany.
Stone Cold?
He
was the German guy.
Yeah. And
yes, I remember him.
He really wanted me to have this. I guess he told me he had a super low cost basis, so he had good room on it. He really wanted me to have this, so he made a good deal.
I know, right, Tony?
A deal that I could not resist.
Tony's like, damn.
Let me see.
Ooh, where are we? Pteraptors. At what point does a card become vintage? Like how long before, say, Tom Brady rookie cards are considered vintage? You know, Tom Brady rookie cards are already kind of vintage. It's over 20 years is technically vintage. More than 20 years.
So I would
23 years ago.
So with baseball, basketball, I would say like 1980 and below is considered vintage. But with basketball, since the most iconic set really is that 86 Flair, I would put the 86 Flair as like the vintage category and down. Baseball, probably the same. I mean, you if you go by the same rules. And then anything is like from the 90s to 2000s. There's like PSA actually has a category for it, like from like the 90s or like the 1988 to 1987 to like 2010 is considered modern, and then ultra modern is like 2010 to current day. I could be off by like 5 years or so, but those are the categories that you see.
Right.
But basically, I would say like vintage is going to be like, I would consider vintage pre new technology, pre chrome technology.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, pre foil stamping, refractors, acetate cards, all those inserts that they introduced in the 90s. Before then, it was just paper cards and there were no inserts. So that's what I consider vintage. And then there's a subcategory of vintage called like pre-war vintage. It's like pre-World War II or something like that, or World War I vintage, which is a different category in itself.
See, me, I would put vintage. See what all the young kids are wearing, like retro-wise, or they revamped. And I noticed they're wearing everything from like 1999, like cargo pants and stuff. To me, that's vintage. Wildcard X, did you ask Piggy Bank's permission before disclosing the resale value on the Messi card? What was his initial reaction? Oh, good question.
So I actually called Piggy Banks. I have his phone number, and I called him when I was doing the deal, and I told him about the terms of the deal, and I asked him, "Hey, are you cool with this? Like, how do you feel?" And he was all for it. Because as an artist,
oh, really? That's good to know.
As an artist, you build your resume based on demand and resale value, secondary value, right?
Right. So it makes a hype.
Yeah. He puts out his cards at a certain price, about $200, and once they start trading on the secondary market, then he can raise his initial price when he starts seeing that his cards become valuable and desirable. So he was all for it. He's happy about it, and I think the guy's a really cool guy. I've known him for about 2 years now. He's always been like super generous and nice to me and courteous. So I'm trying my best to give him exposure and promote and tell his story, because I really believe in him as an artist and everything like that. So he was super excited about everything.
Yeah, I mean, for like modern artists, isn't that what like Banksy's all about? I mean, he's a street artist, modern artist, but he believes in the hype of everything.
Yeah. So, Banksy, Mr. Doodle, all these like, modern urban artists, whatever you call them, street artists or something like that. They're all building their resumes. Okay. And here's where I'm going to give you guys a little bit of knowledge about this. All right. Okay. So this is my pitch. Let me see if I can grab a Piggy Banks card, for example. Okay. All right. You're going to want to listen to this, guys. All right. We're going to wrap this up pretty soon. We're already over 2 hours, but thank you for hanging out with us. This is where I
We knew it was going to be a long one, Dan. We knew it would be.
This is where I'm going to give you knowledge. If you listen, you understand, you're going to be able to make money off of this. So I have been getting into original art lately, right? And what caused me to get into original art is before I could always appreciate it. I could always appreciate art, but I'm never going to spend a lot of money on an original piece when I can buy a print, right? Like artists might make a beautiful original piece of artwork that they sell for like $10,000, but they might sell like 50 prints, lithograph prints for $50 a piece. I would just buy the prints. I love the artwork, but I don't want to spend that money. I just buy the print. I can get the same thing, right? And here's what when it dawned on me that, you know, I should be looking towards the original art. The prints don't hold value because they're just a copy. Okay, what holds value is the original artwork. So then once you understand that the original artwork, the one-of-ones, hold value, you have to think to yourself, okay, well, this artist makes this. I could commission another artist to make a similar thing, right? Why don't I just get that? Because that piece of art won't be worth any money because it's not that same artist. So, so what you really have to look at with original artwork is you're not buying the piece of artwork itself. Okay, and I'll use this as an example. So piggy banks, right?
Oh, look at that Ric Flair.
This is my Ric Flair Woo Kaboom card. Okay, right. Beautiful card. And this card could be worth whatever. It could be worth $500. It could be worth $10,000. I don't know, whatever, right? You're not buying this. You're buying this right here, piggy banks, the artist. Right. The piece of art itself is what resonates with you. It's what you like to see to hang on your wall that you want to collect. But if you're looking at it towards an investment and you're spending a lot of money, you're not buying this as an investment. You're buying into the artist and his body of work that he's going to create. So similar to how people will invest in athletes, they prospect on an athlete. If an athlete becomes like the greatest of all time and Hall of Famer, they're buying into the athlete, not necessarily the card itself, right? Same thing with original artwork and the artist. If you believe in the artist and their vision for growing their career and building up a portfolio of work where they become very famous someday and their original pieces command a lot of money, then you can buy their art, okay? But don't make the mistake of buying this thinking that this is going to be worth a lot of money, that you could flip it real quick, because this is just a piece of that artist's work, part of his portfolio. You're really buying into the artwork. So with piggy banks, for example, in the beginning, he would give me his cards trying to promote himself for free. And he would, get me to buy his stuff. And I'm like, man, dude, I don't buy custom cards. I don't buy art, things like that. And it wasn't until I kind of like really got to know him, till I went to his art studio and I could see that he was a serious artist, that he did this full time. He's not just some guy doing this as a side hustle or anything like that. When I learned about his vision, about how he's trying to build his business and career as an artist, I was like, yeah, dude, that makes sense. And that's when I started to get into his stuff. Gotcha. And you can do that with anything. You could do that with comic book art, original art paintings, like the guy, Justin Ferrano, that we saw there. There's all sorts of different artists out there that are trying to do things. Jay Geeker is another guy that I've been talking to on Instagram, seeing his stuff. Luke the Cardist is another guy. You don't buy the original pieces itself, you buy into the artist. And if you can find an artist where you understand their vision and you think that they're going to go somewhere, you buy their stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Goot Vibes. Best card show podcast that no one watches. How's it going, gentlemen? It's going great. How you doing, brother?
Yes.
Dexflow Toys. Wow, great card. Dexflow Toys again. Similar mindset on Pawn Stars when certain paintings sell for more based on the artist.
It's all about the artist, and it's about the community that supports the artist, right? So again, we'll use this as an example. Okay, let's just say this. This Piggy Banks is an established artist. His community of collectors are going to hoard his stuff, and it's only going to trade on the secondary market at the value that they set. Right? It's not going to be some flipper buying this for a couple $100 and trying to like flip it and make, double their money or something like that. It's going to be like the people that really love and support his stuff. And he's being very selective about the people that he gives it to. He's very mindful that if he gives these to like flippers and things like that, that they're going to hurt his brand. So he's building a community of followers that support him, and that community,
quality, not quantity.
Yeah, that community is going to basically protect the value of his stuff on the secondary market.
Nice.
All right, so we've gone way over now than what we usually do. So that's going to wrap up all the comment section for us here. Oh, man, so much to talk about, but the national is a 2-hour show like this. So thank you guys for hanging out with us and listening to all our BS and shenanigans throughout 2 hours. We got, we probably could talk about the national for another 2 hours, but
I know Dan could. He could be on here for another 6 hours if you let him.
Save that for the next show for you guys.
I know we didn't even have a mail day today, Dan.
We didn't do mail day, and we did not talk about our sponsor. So Merlin, do you want to give a plug?
That's right, guys. They were there too. I got to meet Raymond for my first time. Ollie from Australia. He was there promoting the belt that you gave away, Dan. You finally don't have any more.
I lost my championship belt. No more.
Wait, I don't even know who won. Do you know who won?
I don't know.
We'll announce it on the next show then. We'll have to ask Raymond and let y'all know who won. If y'all are watching right now, let us know. Anyway, Veriswap is a great source, great app. You can download it on your iPhone or Droid or Google phone or whatever phone you have. It's free to download. It takes literally 5 minutes to create an account and upload your slabs on there. They take graded. Dan says that, do they even take ungraded yet? Not yet.
People are hacking the system to put.
They're hacking the system. Don't hack the system, guys. It's going to stress people out. The people. Anyway, if you got a stranger that hits you up on Facebook or social media, Instagram or eBay, they're like, "Dude, I like that card you have on display on your profile, but I don't want to buy. I'd rather trade with you." And you're like, "Who the hell is this person?" Well, tell them to put their cards and your cards on Veriswap, and you can finally make that trade transaction. And Veriswap is that middle guy. You send it. You have to pay a little extra for that service. Not much, though. Probably, I think less than am I right, Dan? Less than eBay?
It's 3%, the total trade value. But I heard breaking news.
What's that?
They're working to lower the 3% fee. So
3% and lower the 3% already?
Lower because they've had so many transactions that they're making money now that they're able to kind of pass that savings on to their users. So they're working to lower it. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's what Raymond told me.
Well, that's great. So now if some weirdo messages you, gives you a DM, you're like, who's this person? I don't want to have anything to do with them. I don't trade with strangers because I don't want to end up, buying a box of Pokemon and getting some G.I. Joes, even though Dan, the curator, would love some G.I. Joe cards over the Pokemon. But you're not going to get ripped off. It goes to their headquarters. They oversee it just like eBay now does the authenticity guarantee, which is hard to say. But they make sure y'all both have the right cards before it's sent to the right person, and you get the cards that you made that trade for, and everything is kosher now. It's cool. There you go. You've got the answer that you want. Use Veriswap today. It only takes 5 minutes. Anything you want to add to that, Dan?
Yeah, don't be a sucker and don't get scammed. Use Veriswap, guys. It's definitely a much needed service in the hobby. So we want to support them. If you guys want to support us, make sure you support our sponsors. Make sure you sign up with the link below in the show notes. And if you have any questions, you DM them and you tell them that you heard about Veriswap from us. That helps us out.
They're right there over my shoulder, guys. Right there.
Right. And then I did see a comment here I won't highlight, but Tony used my code Curator to buy a Zion case yesterday. So I appreciate that.
Way to go, Tony.
Everybody needs a Zion case. Use code Curator for that. DexFlow, it says you use Roth's code. So, I don't appreciate that, Dex.
Yeah, way to go, DexFlow. Now you're going to get any deals at the Burbank Card Show now. Doesn't matter if y'all live together.
I'm going to tenderize you for that. Okay. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up everything. We got more stuff to talk about. But
DexFlow is going to have to wear one of your T-shirts at Burbank Card Show to get any deal from you.
That's right. Get my T-shirts on the YouTube page. I don't even know where it is. Okay. I have a YouTube shop somewhere. I don't even know where it is. Okay. But you guys can find it. You can get the Curator shirts. But anyways, so much to talk about, but so little time, guys. My kid's crying.
I'm starving, man. We still have 50 people watching, Dan.
Yeah, I got to go take care of my kids. But I just want to say, thank you guys so much. For the guys that did not watch our 100th episode, tune into the 100th episode on Saturday. It's the episode previous to this one. I actually gave the microphone to Merlin to talk for the majority of the episode.
I know that's hard to believe, but he did.
So
I know it's hard to believe.
I actually gave the microphone here to Merlin to talk.
Shoved it in my mouth.
He told okay,
whoa, not like that. No, that's your nasty ears.
All right, okay.
No, man.
Okay. So anyways, go check out that episode. But basically, if you guys didn't see the episode, we just want to say again, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I also want to say that, Dan.
Let me finish my thing. Thank you so much,
dude.
for supporting our 100th episodes. You guys are really what's keeping us afloat. Really, like other people might have way more followers. Other people might, have a bigger platform, but I don't think anybody has as much loyal, dedicated, consistent engagement with their followers like us. Week after week, you guys tune in and you listen to us go on these crazy ass rants. You comment in the section, you support us. So I think that's what's put us in the position where we can have sponsors and we can do all these things. So thank you guys so much for your support for that. And we look forward to the next 100 episodes. Okay, Merlin.
All right. And, if you want to listen to it in your car as well, any archives of these shows, we have it, the list of all the podcasts that we carry it on, like Spotify and Google and all that. They're in the descriptions. Any links that we've talked about tonight are also in the description. So check that out. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to both of us and hit that bell button. So in case we do any other, podcasts and live streams or whatever. So check it out.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
All right, guys. All right. Let's see here. Let me get this banner thing up here. Anything else you want to say before we leave?
That's it, guys. We'll have some more talk. We'll probably talk more about the National next week. So tune in.
All right. See you guys then.
Bye, guys.